Okay, so let's make sure you have the booklet out. Make sure you feel comfortable with it. But we're going to take a look at these problems. Okay? And again, I'm going to try and go through the exact same technique. The reason I don't teach multiple techniques is I have found by teaching multiple techniques, sometimes people will pick their favorite part of one technique and then their favorite part of another technique, and then they try and merge it together, and unfortunately they get it incorrect. Okay? Totally happens. Okay? All right, so problem number 4. So verify, make any corrections you need to make. Please stop me if you have a question on something I've done. Okay? All right, so is that the right problem? That was the first problem I had assigned you guys? Look about right? Okay. So item 1. Do I have to change that to a 1 or do I keep it as a 2? I keep it as a 2. So then I'm going to go -3 times 2, and I'm going to get a -6. And the reason why I want to make sure I keep the sign is that's going to tell me what my signs have to be. So when I multiply two numbers together, in order to get a negative, one of them has to be positive, one has to be negative. I don't know which order it'll be yet, but I do need to know that. And I took attendance, but I'm not checking this homework off because we're not done with it.
Okay.
Make sense? All right, so I know that 1 times 6 is the same thing as 6. Agree? Hey!
Hi.
Good to see you. And I also know that... Okay. And I also know that 2 times 3 is 6. Do you agree? Okay. So now, I know that one of these has to be positive, one of them has to be negative, and I want to figure out which ones would add up to -5. So remember, the big key here is one is positive, one is negative. Okay? So which one of those combinations, 1 and 6 or 2 and 3, would give me -5 as an answer? And how would I do it?
1 and 6.
1 and 6. 1 and 6 and what?
-6.
-6. So it's going to be a positive 1x and a -6x. This is going to replace that. Remember, the ends come down. I don't touch the ends at this point. Okay? And then I'm going to replace this here is going to sit right here. Okay? It doesn't matter the order I put them. The answer will come out to be the same. So I have plus 1x and -6x. Do you feel comfortable with that? Neri, you good? You're happy? All right. So then, let me highlight. I have 4 terms. I'm going to look at these first 2 terms. What do I have in common between those first 2 terms? I have an x. So then I have x plus 1. The middle sign does what? What is that? It always comes down. So this means, in this case, it's a subtraction. So I'm going to make sure I factor out a negative. So I'm going to look at those. What do I have in common between those two? What goes into both 6 and 3? 3. So I'm factoring a -3 out. So if I factor a -3 out of -6, I'm left with positive 2x. If I factor a -3 out of -3, I have to have a placeholder of 1. Oops. You know what I forgot? I forgot the 2 right there. I'm so sorry. So now these are both the same. Agree? So that's going to come down to give me 2x plus 1. And what do I have left? X minus 3. That's the answer. Now, I want to show you, let's say I have the 2x squared and the -3, and let's change the order of this. So I had -6x and plus 1x. Do you see what I did? I flipped over what I had here. Okay, so I just want to verify that this works. I want to verify this works. Okay, so what would I have in common between these two? What did I have in common between 2x squared and 6x? What number? 2? Is there also a letter? An x. If I factor a 2x out of 2x squared, I'm left with x. And there's a minus that goes here. If I factor a 2x out of 6x, what do I have left? Minus 3. Good. Here, the middle term comes down. And this one sometimes gets a little goofy to think about. What is the only thing I can factor out of 1x and negative 3? I can't factor an x because the 3 doesn't have an x. I can factor out just a 1. Okay, and that leaves me x minus 3. So now these are the same. And what do I have left? Okay, is this answer here the same as this answer here, but just written, the binomials are reversed? Okay, so it works either way. Okay, which is the right way? Whichever one gets you the right answer. Okay?
I got x minus 1 and then x plus 3.
Okay, you factored a negative out someplace that you shouldn't have. Okay? What might have happened is you might have flip-flopped the signs here. You might have had a minus 1x and a plus 6x. That might have been what happened. And that could have happened. That's where you have to double check it to make sure you get to that middle number, the negative 5. Okay? What you had done would have given you a positive 5 for that middle, and positive 5 and negative 5 are two different terms. Okay? Friends, may I move off this screen and go to number 5? All right, number 5. I have 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Do I have to put a 1 out front? No, I already have a 2 there. So I'm going to multiply positive 6 times 2, and I'm going to get positive 12. In order to get a positive number, both numbers have to be the same sign. So they're both positive or they're both negative. What do you think they would have to be? Very good. This is a positive 7, so they're both positive. Okay? So I'm going to list the factors of 12. So I get 1 and 12. If I add 1 and 12 together, do I get 13? Yeah. Is 13 the same as 7? No. And then I have 2 and 6. If I add 2 and 6 together, what do I get? 8. 8 is not the same as 7. And then what about 3 and 4? If I add 3 and 4 together, what do I get? 7. So this is what's going to work. So I have plus 3x and plus 4x. Those would add up to that positive 7. Okay, so this is what's going to replace here. So the ends come down. Ends come down. And I'm going to put this in the middle. Whatever order I want. Just make sure you keep the signs. So plus 3x plus 4x. Then I'm going to highlight. What do I have in common between those first two terms? An x. If I factor an x out of 2x squared, I'm left with what? 2x, because it's 2x times x, 2x squared. If I factor an x out of 3x, what do I have left? If I factor an x out of 3x, what do I have left? 3. Good. Middle sign does what? Comes down. Okay, so none of the signs are changing. What do I have in common between those green highlighted? 2. Very good. If I factor a 2 out of 4x, what do I have left? 2x. Because 2 times 2x is 4x. If I factor a 2 out of 6, what do I have left? 2 times what gives me 6? 3. Do these match? So that's my first answer. What's the rest of my answer? X plus 2. It's whatever I had left. Whatever I have left gets plugged in there. Okay? Friends, any questions on that? A little too much chatting.
real quick, on a scale of 1, you have no idea what's going on in this classroom. You don't even know your name at this point. All the way to 5, where you feel like you could take an exam and ace this. Where are you guys all at when it comes to this concept? And don't worry, it's okay if you're at 1. I just need to know where you guys are all at, just so then when we get ready for the test, I know where everyone's at mentally.
We know if we need a fresh pen or
Okay. Okay. Where are you at? What number are you at?
What number what?
1 or 5?
1 not knowing, 5 knowing,
4.5.
4.5, all right. 5.7?
Okay. That's just for me, just so then when we start getting ready for the quiz, I may pull some groups and do some help on that. Cool. When did we decide the next quiz?
Yes.
What?
We'll have a small quiz on Friday. It'll be a pop quiz.
Are you joking? I don't know if he's joking. Sometimes I don't know with him.
Do what?
What did you do with the leftover stuff here again?
That goes into, that X comes here, plus 2 goes there.
Okay, so it would be like 2x and 6.
No, that's just like that, X plus 3.
Okay.
Cool.
Sure, you want me to check homework?
No, because we're going to actually sign the rest of this, then we'll check it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Number 6. All right, friends, do I have to put a 1 out in front? No. No 1 out front because I have a 2. So negative 6 times 2 is what? Negative 6 times 2 is what? Negative 12. Friends, in order to get a negative number, what do we know about the signs? Okay, and so how do I get a negative then? Yeah, you have 1 of each. 1 of each, right? Make sense? All right, so I know that I have 1 times 12. Hey, if 1 and 12, 1 was positive, 1 was negative, would they add up to negative 11 if I had the negative in the right spot? Yeah, so do I have to go any further? No. This will work. I don't have to write the rest of the factors because I know that if I have a positive 1x and a negative 12x, if I added those together, that would give me negative 11x. So see how I kind of just shortcutted it? I didn't have to go and list all the factors. Okay, so that's something that you could do. Now, if you have to still list 2 and 6 and 3 and 4, that's fine. I'm just showing you that it is possible. So the endpoints come down. And then I'm going to plug this in to the middle. So whatever order I want. Okay. Now highlight this. If I highlight that, what do I have in common with the green? 1x or just x? If I factor an x out of 2x squared, what do I have left? 2x. If I factor an x out of 1x, what do I have left? Plus 1. Okay. What does this middle sign do? Comes down. This means I'm factoring the negative out. Okay. What do I have in common between those two? What number goes into both 12 and 6? 2. You're right, but anything bigger? 3. Anything bigger? 4 doesn't go into 6. Does 6 go into both?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so if I factor a 6 out of 12x, what do I have left? 2x. If I factor a 6 out of 6, what is a placeholder? Notice the sign changed as well. So take a look. If I wanted this to go back to the pink, negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x. Agree? Negative 6 times positive 1 is negative 6. Do you see how that worked?
Yeah.
These are the same. That's what we want. So I have 2x plus 1 and x minus 6. It's all done. All right, friends, will you do me a favor? Will you do me a favor? Will you try number 8 on that page? Try number 8. Try number 8. See how you do. Number 8 on that same page.
Number 8.
See what you can do with number 8. I'll give you a little time to start it, and then I'll go ahead and start putting some stuff in. My battery, why is it so low?
It's because you're teaching straight through.
Yeah, but it was plugged in.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the charger. It says 4 hours until it's charged.
Yeah, but it's only at 8%. It's 4 hours because I'm going to both boards.
Oh.
So it's using a whole lot of energy to try and work.
Yeah, this one just went through.
Okay, so you're right there. So you're going to cover, look at those first two. Looks like I have an X in common. So you take an X out front, and then you have 5X plus 2. And then the plus sign comes down, and then you factor a 1 out, and then you have 1 plus 1, parentheses 5X plus 2.
Sure.
Yeah,
I have a question.
yeah.
I feel like up to like this point, when I have like when I kind of like make the problem, I feel like that's really easy. But
Okay,
like, I
so-
don't really like.
So, okay, so I'm almost there. Ready? So we're there, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're at?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So then, I'm going to look at my very first two terms. What do I have in common between those two? X. And then if I factor an x out of 5x squared, I'm left with 5x. If I factor an x out of 2, I'm left plus 2. Is that okay so far? Okay. This middle sign comes straight down. And I'm going to look at that in yellow. I don't have anything in common, so I'm going to factor a 1 out.
You wouldn't just like break down the whole thing.
Because this plus 1 is part of the other part of the answer. So then these are the same. And then what do I have left? I have x and plus 1. And it's done. See it?
Did you put the one just like? What's the point of it? What does it do?
Okay, so it's a placeholder. So this, it goes here, and red. And this,
Like I know there's like a 1 in front of the x, but like is that what it means?
well, it's also a placeholder. So basically, look at this. Ready?
Why do I need a placeholder?
Watch. Ready? You can turn around too if you want. Turn around. 1 times 5x is 5x. 1 times 2 is 2.
Okay.
So you want that 1 to be the distributor.
Oh.
Okay? All right. So, my friends, we have not checked off page 49. But 49, 1 through 12, needs to be done. Now, friends, if you're paying attention, we did 1, 2, and 3 2 days ago. We did 4, 5, and 6 was assigned. Well, I don't know why that went away. Enter waiting room. Oh, error in my panel. Okay, great. So, page 49, 1 through 12 needs to be done for tomorrow. We will mark that off. You know it's going to be real frustrating when we check things off? If you have a blank page 49 when we've just done 7 of the problems over the past 3 days. Right? Yeah. Did you guys tell Stone that I actually wrote on the desks for the first 3 problems? It was so awesome. Whiteboard, or use the desks with a marker.